Think we're good. It's doing the thing. Hi everybody, what's up? Okay, it says it's now streaming, so I think we are live. Let me go ahead and grab this as well. Hi everybody, what's up? I'm so excited. I wanted to bring on our amazing heart-centered sales expert, Miss Michelle Rockwood, with us today. And we're going to be talking about, we're actually going to be talking and sharing a really powerful thing you can do in your business that is through sales. We're going to be talking about it in a second because Michelle actually lived this for herself, and it's something that we teach in BodyMind. But I wanted to bring her on here because one thing that I've heard for a lot of holistic practitioners, like you love your work, your modalities, your treatments, you love your clients, you like that power of that body-mind connection, you live it and breathe it and teach it in every aspect of what you do with your clients. And then there's sales and marketing over here. And like for a lot of practitioners, sales feels like the opposite of their work. It feels like it's slimy, cheesy. It's also necessary, and there's a lot of weird energy around it. And so before we kind of talk about this amazing thing that we're going to share with you today, Michelle, can you talk about why is sales actually part of your services? Why is sales really a part of that living body mind piece that we love to talk about here in our company?
Well, I guess I'd say our sales, right? BodyMind sales, right?
Thank you for that. Yes. Good clarification.
we start to redefine sales, and BodyMind sales is so different. And it starts to rewrite the story of what sales is. And so that's actually what we have to do first, right? Is say, what did we think this was? And now what is it? And now we take our coaching skills and we combine them. Yeah. And so it's so neat. And I love the comments, especially that we're getting from those right now. We're starting to introduce BodyMind sales to our current cohort. And it's like, well, this isn't sales, what you're describing. And I'm like, yes. And the result is people come into your programs like with joy. Yes. And what we teach too is choice. Sales is a choice. And we teach you the 5 steps to choice. And that might be a yes, that might be a no. So even right there, you can start to feel into, we're not getting a yes at all costs. We're not working with everyone. So yeah, we've started to redefine what selling means.
Yeah, and we're not trying to sell you something just for the fact that we're supposed to get a sale. We're really bringing you to a place where you are consciously connecting to yourself, making that choice of what you want, and then if we work together, this is what it gets to look like. And I think, go ahead.
That doesn't come easily. Mm-hmm. So, really I'm with clients right now. It's like, do we actually say no to somebody? And then, so we have to teach them how to know what clients you want to work with, and why that's so important. So yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like we could go down the rabbit hole. This is what part of why we have BodyMind sales in BodyMind coaching is because we know that there's so much power in sales. And I think for me, when I think about this idea of sales and BodyMind living, obviously we have our magazine, we're here, and all these practitioners are here to help their clients live BodyMind. For me, sales is an opportunity, yes, for choice. And it's also an opportunity for activation.
Absolutely.
It's just, again, whether it's a yes or a no, it's about all of those things, like, how your clients are wanting more ease, how they're wanting to lose weight, how they're wanting to feel less stress. That moment of sales is a moment where they get to consciously activate their desires and say, I am committed to making this real in my life.
Absolutely. And it's that transformation, like literally, I mean, you can feel it, right?
It's
like,
so cool.
Yeah, you can feel it taking place on that call. And they've made this really big decision to step forward and to work with you.
Yeah.
And so it's so important to activate that yes and
Yes.
do those next steps. And such a loving kindness and support of your client to help them move to their next step, right?
Yeah.
They've struggled so much in making this decision to come right here.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So that's something that we talk about. And obviously we give the five steps to choice. And this is something that we teach. But the reason why we're here today is because I actually got a message from Michelle last week where she was talking about her experience with something that we teach in BodyMind. And truly, this is something that I actually did recently with the whole magazine.
Yeah.
Because the other thing that happens in sales, right? This idea of this transaction, this activation, your client is activating and consciously choosing how they want to feel and how they want to live in their life. But something happens for the person doing the selling, for the coach, for the practitioner. Something magical happens in that moment. And sales is actually a point of activation for many of our practitioners listening, right? Yes. And now, before we go into this, I'm curious, Michelle, have you, and for everybody listening, have you ever made things more complicated than they need to be? I do all the time.
Yeah.
All the
few
time, right?
times.
Yeah. Have you ever had an idea of something that you ruminated on and you're like, I'm going to get it together and I'm going to get it perfect and I'm going to have it all outlined.
Yeah.
And then one day I'm going to put it out there for the world to see and whatever. And for those of you listening,
Absolutely.
right. This is something we see all the time when we start talking about offering programs. There's this thing of, well, let me go. And I'm sorry for my notifications. Let me turn those off. There's this thing that we see all the time that's like, oh my God, I can see how owning my coaching role, how creating a program is going to be so transformational for my clients. So let me go back here by myself in a vacuum where I'm disconnected from everything and I'm disconnected from the energy. And let me go over here and try and make this thing perfect before I put it out into the world. So I'll let you do the big reveal. What is this thing that we're talking about that is actually, that is actually this moment of transformation for the practitioner?
Selling first.
Sell first, y'all. Sell first and create as you go. Y'all, I mean, this year has been freaking crazy. Y'all are looking for ways to generate more income, to help your clients more. The thing that will move the needle first, or the thing that will move the needle the fastest, is selling first.
This is a big scary thing.
Yeah,
Laura.
totally.
This was, I mean, what are you talking about before, right? Years ago, I would say like, what are you talking about? But you've taught us, you've taught the community, you've taught all these BodyMind coaches on how to take action in selling a program. So it's almost like, I guess it's so ingrained in us now that it doesn't even seem like selling first. That's just like how you take action.
Yeah, it's just, it's part of, we do some market research. It's part of the market research. It's part of actually,
the plan.
Yeah, it's part of the process. It's not this thing that happens over here and
exactly.
Right.
Yes.
And yeah. And for those who love to go and gather all the information, we love to call y'all fact finders. For those of you who love to have the systems mapped out before you start, selling first is the best way to gather the information. It's the best way to create your program. You will create a like 10 times better program than you even realize when you sell first. And it's easier. So yeah, go ahead.
I'd love to speak to two things. I'd love to almost speak to what selling first means. Like, what is that? What are you actually doing? And then I'd love to speak to why it's 10 times better for everyone. Primarily your client and you, but so if it's okay, I'd love like, what does that mean to sell first? What do you have set up in your mind? What, and I can share like from personal experience if
I think that would be best.
So, well, okay, why don't I do that? So I'm a BodyMind coach. I have an idea for a program. It's called Sisterhood Rising. This is last year. I was in Mexico and I was like, women need this, I'm 10 years into a marriage. I have 3 kids. Who am I? Like I've redefined myself from I mean, these steps of like hiring a housekeeper have been so significant. I have a housekeeper that came 4 days a week. God love her. I hope she comes back soon. Do you know what I mean? Like these little things that have opened up doors and this transition from being a full-time mom to working. And anyway, so I created in my mind this program, and I called it Sisterhood Rising, and it was involved women. And anyway, so I had all these ideas, right?
And can I just, so also what I'm hearing in this is that you noticed something in yourself, in your life, that you would love you wanted to explore. And I have a sense you probably saw like a problem, a need for other people around you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great.
Yes.
Saw the problem, had an idea like, oh my God, wouldn't it be great to bring women together and explore these things together?
Beautiful. Then I did market research, or embodied market research.
Yes. Right? And this is something we teach in BodyMind. And this is something that like day one, you sign up, we're helping you do this. Okay. So you did the market research. By the way, how long did that market research take you?
I don't know, a week, not even.
Okay, great. I just wanted to say that because I see other people go into like 6 months of market research and 6 years. I have friends that are still doing market research and it's been 5 years. And from that time, you know, look at what's grown here in BodyMind. Yeah. It's crazy.
By the way, we could just get it, but my market research are the people who ended up purchasing the program. No surprise. We teach how to do that.
Yes.
So, I did market research. It sounded great. Based on my market research, some things changed. I was like, oh, they're really lonely. Loneliness was like a really big theme where I thought it would be more business. And so, I modified from that, but each week, you taught me, right? I had an outline of what I thought it should be each week and what it would look like. And so based on the previous week's meeting, I was able to modify and change it. So I sold the program to 9 amazing women. And by following the BodyMind process, I was able to sell first and create as I go. So every email, every module, every video, every Facebook post, everything was created as I went. And I filed it away. Right. So I could use it next time and took notes and modified so that it could be better next time and got feedback so I could improve upon it and charge full price. Right. Coming out in January. So this way of doing it, especially for me, I can be a procrastinator. It's hard for me to do something if I don't know people want it, if there's not somebody there on the other end. But oh my gosh, the minute I sold it, you guys, I just went crazy creating. Like, the things just came out of my head, the posts, the videos, all the things, the welcome gift. So it's just so much easier when you've sold it to create it.
Yeah. And there's like so many things in this because also, every course that I've ever created, I sold first. I just want to say that every course. And what ends up happening is for those of you like, you sit here, how many of you have been like, thinking about, oh my God, I could do a program. You've been thinking about it. You're trying to put it together and it's like not going anywhere. But then a client comes into a session, they ask you a question and the 5 things that they need to do, right? That's what we're talking about here. We're asking you this, the power of selling first for you is activating all of this wisdom and knowledge that you already have in you that, when you're trying to put it together, what you're really doing is saying, I'm scared because I don't know if I'm good enough. So let me go get all this information and put something together that's perfect so I can prove that I'm good enough to receive for something that actually comes really naturally to you.
Yeah.
We're asking you to just receive for what comes naturally to you because your clients need it right now. In your market research, it sounded like they were ready to go.
Oh yeah. No, I almost had to do it. Actually, you know what I mean? Like it, for the universe, like they were, please, 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 and then when I finished it, it was like, oh, you have to do it again. Right. Cause the impact was so great. I'm like, oh, darn it. I wanted to quit and hide in a hole, but like, Laura, you talk about, responding to your clients. And I think at like first glance, you think, oh, this is like trickery or something, selling first. But in actuality, this is a coaching conversation. And in a coaching conversation, it's client-led. And so to create a container of support, to create a program, in isolation is actually not client led. It's not
Correct.
being responsive. It's almost thinking like you're the teacher and you know best, and you're going to give them what they need, and they need to fit into your box.
Yeah.
But we're saying, oh no, we're going to dance together. We're going to create something even more beautiful than I could ever imagined.
Yeah.
And I'm going to create in response to what it is.
Yes. And there's something else. So yes to all of this. And there's, I'm putting my pinky because I have something that I want to speak to that around the container. But you're right. When you try and create it in a vacuum, you're not creating to what the client actually needs, right? I come from the massage world. So let me give an example of this. Let me say I go into a vacuum and I design a session for a client that's all about fixing pain in their left shoulder. And then they come in and for that session and they say, well, actually my right pinky toe hurts. Right? You don't go and do the right shoulder, you like go and address what's actually showing up for them. So the same is true in this idea of a coaching container, is that in this process of selling first, right? You're doing this market research, getting really clear on what they need, what they want to actually spend money for, what is actually costing them in their life. And then you provide them this container of support where they can move through it. And when you are coaching them and you're actually creating as you go, your program is so dialed in because they are literally telling you everything that they need. Absolutely. And I think the other thing that I want to say, because usually this is the point where we have somebody who says, but I've already been giving this away for free for so long. How can I actually charge for it now? And that's the other thing that happens in this idea, in this activation, in this program, is that you're here to deliver this information and help them through this. And by the way, Michelle, you use some of the done for you resources that we give you in BodyMind, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We actually give you a program. If you're like, what do I start? We actually give it to you, right? We give you all the PDFs, all the things that you can use.
They loved it. Yes. They asked.
Yeah.
Please,
amazing.
Can I send it to a friend? Yes, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing that, they've invested in this, right? Remember, that yes, for their activation is about them choosing to not only say in their head, yes, I want this. Their activation of that investment is about, now I'm willing to do the work to embody it. And so you're giving them the information, you're giving them the framework for them to understand this. But because you've sold first and now you're showing up and it's easier, and you're holding space for them to actually do it, that's where it becomes really transformational. Yeah. What was your experience like with that, with kind of talking about it and then seeing it happen?
Well, what you're describing right there is a program. And so often that transformation, so often folks think that they have to have these crazy modules or everything set up on Kajabi, but actually simply creating the container of space and saying, let's work on this thing for 3 months. Let's work on this thing for a month, right? And creating that space and responding accordingly. That's a program.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be super complicated. I lost my train of thought on what was your other question that you asked?
I asked you, how did that show up for you when you were actually kind of creating a response, and like you sold first and you have these women in your group?
Yeah.
What happened when you just literally like held the space for them? You're creating a response, you're holding space. What showed up? Like, what were some of the breakthroughs? What surprised you in their engagement because you did it this way?
Well, I was really surprised by their shock because almost everybody thought that it was, everybody came in with their own lens on what it should be, you know what I mean? And everybody got what they wanted, even though it was so different. And so I think had I been really, I just think it would have been less of a rich experience, less of an ability to connect, less authenticity. They loved breakout sessions, and so I was able to do breakout sessions because they wanted the intimacy of each other. It's just so much better. And I could improve the next time too, based on their feedback and go from there.
What were some of maybe like the wins or breakthroughs that you experienced with them?
I mean, so this is one thing I love about coaching is that you get no credit and you know that there's a lot of credit to be given. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yes,
what's
totally.
so great is when you're doing a great job as a coach, the person is empowered. They're not like, oh, my teacher helped me get a raise. You know what I mean? My coach. And so actually like people left jobs, people moved. Yeah, just, friendships were built. We had this women's circle, which was way out of everybody's comfort zone, which was totally crazy. And so that was so neat. We grew. When you step into your coaching role, whether it's individual or group program, what your clients get to receive is it's almost never what you expected.
Yes. Which again is why you need to sell first, because if you're trying to create something for this imaginary expectation, you miss the magic of what is there.
Even weight loss is such a great example. Somebody might come to you as a health coach and say, I want to lose 20 pounds. You go create in a vacuum, right? You have this weight loss program. You didn't really realize they actually want to connect with their spouse or their friends or their significant other, right? Like it could be a program that's totally different when you sit down and you listen and you respond to their needs.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said this a couple times that I want to ask about this. You've mentioned like claiming your coaching role. And I know that we have a lot of people that listen that are massage therapists or Reiki practitioners that might be like, oh, am I a coach? Can you speak a little bit to that? And I also want to frame this up with, you're also a yoga instructor.
Yeah. I'm a Baptiste instructor for years. And oh man, I've done a lot of down dogs in my days. Are you a coach? I think for me, what comes up when you say that is more of, I would like to invite you, do you transform your clients' lives? Are you providing transformation? And that is what I would like to invite you to step up and own, is the true transformation that you provide for your clients now and stepping into what you could provide for them when you own it, when you own that coaching role. What your clients get to receive is 10 times that.
Yeah. And I think just as you're talking, what came up for me was like, here are some signs that I've seen is I hear a lot of practitioners that talk about their work is about body, mind, and soul. I hear a lot of practitioners, we know this all the time, that you spend extra time talking, or you love, offering insights or sharing apps, or maybe you have a really powerful practice in meditation or breath work, that you're often sharing those little nuggets from your practice with other people. And these are just examples. I don't know if you have any more. The other one that's coming up is that like people just tell you that you're wise, that like I had people all the time that were like, how do you know these things? You give such great advice, like you're the Oprah of your friends. Like any others of those that you've noticed?
Well, if you're listening to this and you know in your heart that your clients come to you for more than just a massage,
or more than just Reiki or MFR, like
or yoga.
Yeah, I've had yoga instructors that, man, I go just to like
hear their voice.
Yeah, Fidel is somebody like this. Like Fidel, like you have a class with Fidel and it's like your whole world expands, right?
Yeah, there's that little voice is like, or they want more. They want more. There's, I used to remember people would line up after class to talk to me and they just wanted more.
Yes.
Like, I'm so sorry. I don't have more to give you, but now I do, like at the time, right. It was like, if only there was this thing, right.
Yes, totally. And by the way, Fidel is listening. So hey, Fidel, what's up? Well, and yeah, it's, and I think the other thing that you might be noticing, this is something that I noticed in my massage practice. It was like, I felt like I could, I gave amazing sessions. I was fully present. I did the extra time without charging and the talking without charging until I learned better. Because what I saw is that like they would leave being like, oh, I'm full. But because they weren't committed to the program and the change, they would walk back into their car, they would go back into their life, they would like slump their shoulders, right? And like come back 2 weeks later with the same freaking shit. It was, so it drove me crazy. So I think those are some signs. If you're like, am I a coach? Am I not a coach? And by the way, one of the things that our team loves to do, if you're hearing us talk about, body mind coaching, like if you're on that fence of, am I a coach? Am I not? Can I do this? You've been feeling like, we have people who do this. Y'all, you can pre-sell retreats. You can pre-sell group programs. You can pre-sell one-on-one programs.
Yeah.
If you have a desire to make an online course, please, 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 please sell first, create it first, and then do the online program. It will be a better program in the end. But one of the things that our team loves to do is we love to connect with you, to talk with you, to really help you evaluate if this is something that is a good fit for you, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we have, we can jump on the phone with you. And what's so fun is we're really honest and upfront, and we can really help you talk about your goals and where you want to be and how you want to be working and living, and the impact that you want to be making on your clients and on your life and the way you want to live your life. So these calls are just a blast. And
they're amazing. They're amazing. And what's also really cool is that you get to, one of the things that we do is we love the power of community and engaging and seeing what else is out there and connecting with other practitioners. So we love to bring, in our little application calls, we love to connect you with, I can't find words right now. You're connecting with members of our team who have all gone through this process, who have all been that practitioner saying, am I a coach or not? Right. And who have lived BodyMind, who have sold their programs, who are doing this. That's who you get to talk to see if this is a good fit, to see if this is something that you might want to explore for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we have BodyMind sales within, this coaching program, among so many other things.
Yeah.
But if your heart is calling to you, jump on a phone with us and we'll just have a heart-to-heart conversation.
Yeah. And just see, because, and I have something else that I want to talk about before we close up here, but yes. So I know a lot of you, I see a lot of you watching, I know, and for some of you, you might have gone through BodyMind because I see we have some graduates here. Please, as always, share this with friends, colleagues, people that that would really benefit from this. But if you've been following me for a while, I live and breathe this work. And I know that like that desire for you to share your gifts, to make an impact, to help your clients, that is what the world needs. And, the reason we have BodyMind Sales with Michelle coming in as our BodyMind heart-centered expert who is in this process with you. Next week, I'm going to be talking with Carly, who is our embodied tech expert, to talk about the marketing stuff. We've talked about market research. I'll chat with Carly a little bit in depth next week, but we want to give you these skills to enhance your coaching, your natural coaching abilities. We want to have you creating and selling programs because your clients are literally waiting for you to invite them into this. And we know that like this one thing of selling first literally will move the needle so much for you, for your clients. And like, to me, that is like, that is the path to world peace. I know it sounds like crazy as shit, but like, that's why I do this. Yeah.
Selling first changes everything. I mean, it just absolutely changes everything. The quality of your program, your income, how you work, how quickly you'll step into it. It absolutely changes everything.
And then your clients, it changes their results. It changes how they show up. It changes the results that they're getting. It changes how, like she was talking about how some clients left jobs. I've had people get promotions. I've had people have like marriages totally change. People who have like physical transformations, losing weight. We have somebody who's doing this work with marathon runners. It's so cool. We have somebody who's doing this work with women who have had mastectomies and helping them really reclaim their body in a new way, which kind of leads me to one question that, and I will talk about where, if you're interested, we have opened up our application process for the next round of BodyMind in a second. But I do want to speak to one other thing that's kind of lingering out there. Because I know you've been talking about group coaching and we've mentioned online coaching. And I think sometimes there's this, if I'm a massage therapist, if I'm a Reiki practitioner, if I'm a yoga instructor, how does that translate into this coaching space? Yeah.
I know I bet there's a lot of Reiki practitioners listening, but wow, like I feel like there was such a fast transition. And I don't know if it was just me that like took hold of it. But man, people are really into and supportive of doing Reiki online and in combination with coaching, if that feels good, or just online and offering these programs.
Yeah.
Yoga is a great online platform now. Fidel, if he's still listening, he's doing coaching and yoga combined. So how neat is that? Because imagine, how you feel after a yoga session, and now your ability to live it off the mat and to support it in that way. So it's a really neat time, Laura, to move online because everyone's open to it. They're open to everything online right now, right? So it's not something unique you need. It's just like a perfect time to step into this space. There's so many platforms you can use. Zoom we're using right now, which is just so easy.
Yeah. And I would even say, because the other thing as you're talking about this is, for us and the coaching process we teach, and it's also the heart of the sales process we teach. The heart of what we teach is all about embodiment and bringing embodiment into a coaching conversation and bringing embodiment into sales and marketing. And we have clients that take this process and they still do it within their hands-on work, and they create programs that are in person and one-on-one, and they thrive in that. And that's amazing. And then we have some people that what's so cool is this process, this BodyMind method gives you an avenue to amplify what you're doing already and like bridge into this whole other like space where you really can create freedom in your life and in your business.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And I really like that. And you can also go online and come back to in person, right? Or do online and retreats. So there's no one size fits all. And one of the many things I love about BodyMind coaching is we're giving you a framework, we're giving you the support, but what you can come up with is so much more brilliant than I or any of the coaches could ever imagine. So coaching you and tapping into your brilliance and what it is you want to create and creating that life is really what makes you so successful, and our coaches so successful, because we've taken that time up front.
Yeah, I love it. So if somebody is sitting here listening to this and they're like, oh my God, I've been thinking about coaching and way of work. I've been thinking about creating a program, and I hear you, I'm ready to sell first. My team and we would love to connect, to get on a call with you, to just help you evaluate, where you are, what those goals are, what it is that you want, and help you start to assess what steps you need to take to make that happen. Where can they go if they're interested in scheduling one of these calls?
The new BodyMind /next step.
The new BodyMind. Actually, I'll put this one here. Got it. I'll put it in the comments, everybody, so you can see it there.
End up on a call with me. I secretly want to put like /Michelle, and drop it places. Because I love these calls. I love sales, and I love connecting with people. And whether or not it's a good fit right now, you are able to take away so many nuggets, as am I, like each time. And move forward in such an empowered way that it feels so good. Helenka, one of our coaches, she's like, I remember that day. I remember where I was. I remember what I was wearing. I was like, me too. I remember too, if I took a call, in my basement office, or I remember where I was when I connected with you. So it's a really, really special time.
It's so funny that you say that, because I can think back and, speaking of Fidel, because he's here, we'll just talk about him for this one. I remember where I was. I remember what time of day it was when I had that first conversation with Fidel. And I just remember how powerful it was just to to step in, you know, because here he was. I'm going to use you as an example, Fidel. We're just going to talk about you all day today. Yeah. Is he was in the middle of moving cross country. He's a military spouse, and he was in the middle of moving cross country with his wife and 4 kids. And, you know, he's a yoga instructor, massage therapist, and he literally pulled off the side of the road to have this conversation with me. Right? Because he watched my webinar. And if you haven't watched my most recent webinar, thenewbodymind.com/training, you can watch it there. But he had watched it, and we got on this call, and he was just telling me, he's like, every time, you know, I'm a military spouse, we move every 2 to 3 years, and every 2 to 3 years, I have to start from scratch. You know, in some cases, I have to go get my license again, you know, and then start building a clientele from scratch. And I'm just sick of it. And I was like, okay, go sell something. Like, think about that. And especially with everything that has happened this past year, I think there's a lot of practitioners who might be going back to work, and they're like, oh, you know, recognizing that it's time for something new. We have a lot of people that are looking for other options, and there's this belief that you have to start from scratch, you know? And so here we were, I'm like, you have this massive following of people who love you, who adore you, who know you, who trust you, who are in your space, and they're like, give me more. Go sell them something. And how transformational that is right there. Right? So for those of you who are in oh my God, I feel like I have to start over. I feel like this is going to be hard. I feel like I have to go plan something forever. We are telling you, you are brilliant enough already. You know enough already. One of the things that we love to teach you is how to do a really simple market research process and sell a pilot program first, which means cash flow for you, which means finally having a place for your brilliance to live, which means a deeper transformation with your client, which means everybody gets to receive in the process. So
love it, Laura. You don't have to walk, like so many people are walking away from that list, those clients. Don't walk away from them.
No.
We teach you a way to serve and support the hell out of them, right? For the rest of their lives, to serve them even more in a richer way. And you do that in the program while you're with us. This isn't learn all the things and then go do it. We support you while you're doing this right away.
Yeah, love it. So go schedule your call. Please share this. Application for our next round is open. And just as a heads up, we have limited spaces. We only open applications twice a year, and we fill out every time. So please join us, and we'll see you there.
See you soon.
Bye, everybody. See ya.